we are in a little bit of a funk, but there are reasons to be optimistic. And I've gotten a lot of emails from people who said that they've seen the movie and they've gone back to see the movie and they make it a mission to see the movie because of the attempt to suppress the turnout. I mean, people are very aware of what the New York Times has done with the bestseller list and your book. I mean, you know what your book sales are. You see the numbers. I mean, I know how this works as an author, not nearly with the success of a Dinesh D'Souza, but I've been through the process. Yet, as Russ Jones points out at onenewsnow.com, the New York Times has virtually ignored the sales of your book, completely demonstrating in almost a comical way their bias.
Well, my approach with these things, Mike, is to rack up the book sales and push the book in such a way that it becomes unstoppable. And ultimately, last week, the book was number one all week on Amazon. It's now about number 8 or 9, but it's still the top nonfiction best-selling book in the country. So it finally hit number 2 on the New York Times list. It probably should be number 1, and it may very well be number 1 next week. But for a number of weeks here, the Times seemed to be just, overlooking the book, even though, and they'd have books on there whose sales were 1/2 of my book. So it was very puzzling. They never tell you how they compile the list, even though the list is the most influential list in publishing.
Well, and they're careful about that because they say that, and that's okay. I mean, hopefully they can't ignore the numbers and the sales and the reality. I mean, they got to see the Amazon list. They've got to know what your sales are. But it's not just places like the New York Times. Let's talk. I want to remind people about what happened with Google. Talk about the Google problem.
We're still fighting with Google, and it's week number 3. Now, the funny thing to me, Mike, is what we're asking for is unbelievably simple. Right now, if you take any other film, take the film called Tammy. If you go into Google, you put in Tammy, you put in movie, boom, there's the poster, there's the correct title, and there are the showtimes. So we just said, we just want the same for America. You put in America, you put in movie or film, you should see our poster, you should see our showtimes. Well, initially with Google, you put in America, you put in movie, you'd get 2016 Obama's America, which is my last film, which came out 2 years ago. So that seemed almost calculated to confuse people. Like, what, is Dinesh re-releasing his old film? Well, I've already seen that one. So we were very annoyed at that. Google has fixed that problem, but the search engine still isn't working properly, and they admit it. Google acknowledges that they've screwed up, but they say, look, it's a technical problem, we're trying to fix it. And my point is, wait a minute, Google, you're a technical company. I mean, if Burger King was having trouble fixing its technical problems, I understand. But Google has built a multi-billion-dollar corporation on the idea they've got a really good search engine. And that's all we're asking is for the search engine to work.